And streaming on crossroadstoday.com, voters in Calhoun County wait overnight and most of the day for primary election results. Why the counting process is taking so long. Texas closes out primary election day with several major races heading to a runoff election. And one day after advancing to a runoff, a congressman admits to a long denied affair.
We actually have some stormy weather out in West Texas today. That's the beginning of what's going to be an interesting weekend. This is not the main event. The main event is still out on the West Coast. You can see it right there. That's the big storm that'll bring us rain over the weekend, and we'll talk about it coming up in a moment.
And for tonight at the Field of Dreams, one-star softball player made history at the plate. Find out what happened later on in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker. Shauna Curry has the night off. You can never be too accurate when it comes to counting votes, and that was the philosophy this primary election in Calhoun County. As of this morning, the citizens of Calhoun County were still waiting for the results of Tuesday's primary election for the Republican ticket. Although it took many long hours to count and recount by hand each vote, Cindy Kraus with the Republican Party of Calhoun County says this is the way to make sure that each vote is counted and recorded accurately.
We have found some discrepancies within our voting machines where it didn't pick up votes that they said were blank, and they weren't really blank. They were just, you couldn't tell the voter's intent. And while we get better and better at machines, we have a lot of people within the community that want to make sure that they're a part of the system, and they want transparency within the elections.
The Calhoun County Elections Office released the county-wide vote count for all precincts that were cast Tuesday around noon today. There were a total of 1,739 early votes cast. And we got the results from Calhoun County in the race for Calhoun County Judge Vern Lisi, who was appointed to the position in 2024 after the passing of Richard Meyer, secured his first election win. There will also be one runoff election in Calhoun County for Precinct 2's County Commissioner candidates. Michael Balaja, who received 29% of the vote, now directly faces Ronnie Best, who took home 42% of the votes. Texas primary elections conclude with both parties selecting their November candidates. Several state races head to runoffs, including state senator, lieutenant governor, and attorney general, after no candidate received the required 50%. Victoria County had 21% voter turnout, matching the same participation rate from 4 years ago.
Well, I think some things that the common man can do is to talk to those politicians or those would-be politicians that are running in November and volunteer to go and be on their team.
Posey says runoff elections provide voters additional time to research candidates before making their decision. The primary runoff election takes place Tuesday, May 26th. Now to the Senate showdown, as Democrats eyeing a chance to flip a Senate seat. ABC's Jonathan Karl has more as Republican rivals head to a runoff.
Tonight, Democrats see an opening in deep red Texas. State lawmaker James Tallarico, an aspiring Presbyterian minister, defeated Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett in the primary to become the Democratic candidate for Senate. Tallarico is running against what he calls the politics of division, emphasizing compassion.
Now, I notice you don't talk about Trump very much, at least in your ads. It's not like much of a factor. Why is that?
Well, aren't we all tired of talking about Donald Trump? It's been 10 years. I want to talk about something else.
The president is front and center in the Republican Senate primary, where incumbent John Cornyn is facing a bruising runoff against Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton.
I refuse to allow a flawed, self-centered, and shameless candidate like Ken Paxton risk everything we've worked so hard to build over these many years.
Paxton accuses Cornyn of being disloyal to President Trump.
For too long, he stabbed our president in the back by trying to derail his presidential campaigns.
Today, Trump announced, quote, "I will be making my endorsement soon and will be asking the candidate that I don't endorse to immediately drop out of the race." Donald Trump hasn't endorsed either of these candidates yet, but he says now that he's going to make an endorsement soon, posting on social media, "I will be making my endorsement soon and will be asking the candidate I don't endorse to immediately drop out of the race." Jonathan Karl, ABC News, Washington.
Congressman Tony Gonzalez admitted today to having an affair with a staffer who later died by suicide after first denying the allegation. The admission on a radio talk show comes the day after Gonzalez advanced to a May primary runoff. Gonzalez called the affair a mistake and a, quote, lapse in judgment, unquote. The House Ethics Committee opened an investigation today into Gonzalez. The third-term representative said he looks forward to the committee's probe. Stormy there, but we don't have any storms on the horizon. Maybe, but Max says, are you looking at rain this weekend, or maybe we'll get some rain before that?
Oh, we may have some little light stuff in the next day or so, but the big stuff's coming in over the weekend. Now, today, we sort of had the beginning. Here's Highway 35, and there, look at all the stormy weather over the hill country and the high plains. All of that actually drifted on up into the Dallas area, so somebody's getting something. But our stuff is still on the west coast. It's part of a big storm that's going to drift through here, and I really do, that we'll be back to a rainy kind of pattern for next week. We'll talk more about it coming up in just a moment. Don, back to you.
Mac, thank you. An upcoming road closure will impact drivers. TxDOT will start a full reconstruction of the Briggs Boulevard Bridge on April 6th. It will take about 10 months to complete, closing the road during that time. Once the bridge project is complete, the city of Victoria will repave Briggs Boulevard and a section of Millette Drive. Here are some of the top headlines in the Quero Record. City officials are seeking public input over a new comprehensive plan. And owners of the Yorktown Memorial Hospital say a structural evaluation found the 75-year-old building to be, quote, sound, stable, and safe for its current use. To read these stories and more, visit DeWittCountyToday.com. Several major retail stores are set to open in the coming days and weeks here. In the local lowdown, we take a look at which ones are opening and when. Ashley Furniture Store is hosting a ribbon cutting at its new location tomorrow. The 104-year-old family-owned business moved to a larger showroom on Zach Lentz Parkway. Beauty retailer Ulta is unlocking the doors in the new store on North Devero at 10 a.m. this Friday as part of a larger retail construction project. Burlington is another retailer opening in that shopping center. That store is scheduled to open next Friday, March 13th. And Five Below, a discount gift store, is currently hiring. It is scheduled to open on the north side of town on Friday, March 27th. If you want the lowdown on something in the area, let us know by emailing staff@crossroadstoday.com. If you see news happening, call our newsroom at 361-576-0026 or send us an email at staff@crossroadstoday.com. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10. Health concerns mount at a Texas ICE detention center, what lawmakers are calling for. Also ahead, the Pentagon identifies more fallen American soldiers as military operations continue overseas. Lawmakers are pushing to have an immigration detention center closed down because of the measles. On Tuesday, Representative Veronica Escobar spoke out after at least 14 active measles cases were reported at Camp East, Montana. More than 100 people in the facility are currently being isolated due to the outbreak. The tent camp in El Paso is holding more than 3,000 immigrants. It's the largest ICE facility in the country and sits within the Fort Bliss U.S. Army base. A high-speed chase between a suspect and Border Patrol was caught on camera Wednesday. An eyewitness video shows the moment multiple patrol cars were in pursuit. The incident started after the driver sped away from the Sierra Blanca Border Patrol checkpoint. The chase ended about 70 miles away after officers performed a pit maneuver to stop the man's car. The sheriff's office says he got out of the car and started shooting. The man was killed by police. It's unclear which agency fired the deadly shot. Today, a Texas judge is hearing evidence on whether Camp Mystic should remain closed. The judge ruled Camp Mystic cannot repair or rebuild any flood-related cabins where campers slept the night of the July 4th floods. But the judge did not block the camp from reopening portions of the camp that did not flood. The family of 8-year-old Seal Stewart, whose body has not been recovered, asked a Travis County judge to prevent Camp Mystic's owners from reopening while the lawsuit is pending. 25 girls and 2 counselors were killed in the catastrophic floods last year. The war in Iran is intensifying across the Middle East with more strikes and more U.S. troops headed to the region. ABC's Jacqueline Lee has more as thousands of Americans are still stranded abroad.
The war with Iran is heating up. The U.S. Navy sinking an enemy ship with a torpedo, the first time since World War II. Take a look at this extraordinary video from the periscope of that American sub. You can see the massive explosion. 180 people on board the Iranian warship off the coast of Sri Lanka. Authorities say just 32 people were rescued.
America is winning, decisively, devastatingly, and without mercy.
5 days into the conflict, the president also giving the American operation glowing grades.
We're doing very well on the war front, to put it mildly, I would say. Somebody said, on a scale of 10, where would you rate it? I said about a 15.
The Pentagon reports more than 50,000 U.S. troops now in the Middle East, with more on the way. Democrats furious the president went to war without congressional approval, as the Constitution requires.
The power to declare war is ours. If we give it up, then we are turning our back on the Constitution and our responsibility to the American people.
Senate Democrats today tried to force a war powers vote to prevent further U.S. military action without congressional approval, but Republicans blocked it.
The motion to discharge is not approved.
This as we learn more about the first American soldiers killed after that Iranian drone assault on Kuwait. 20-year-old Declan Cody's sister recalling the moment the doorbell rang.
I still don't fully think it's real. I didn't think it was real when they told us.
The Pentagon tonight identifying the last 2 soldiers killed as Chief Warrant Officer Robert Marzan of California and Major Jeffrey R. O'Brien of Iowa. The White House saying the president will attend the dignified transfers of the 6 service members killed in the military operation against Iran. The U.S. is also scrambling to mobilize military and charter flights for thousands of Americans spread out across 14 countries who are pleading for help as drones and missiles crisscross the skies.
It is about 6:40 a.m. here in Doha, my 4th day of being stuck in the hotel, and I'm so ready to go home, y'all.
Jacqueline Lee, ABC News, Los Angeles.
The price of gas is still trending high. Today in Victoria, the average price for a gallon of gas is $2.90. That's 12 cents higher than yesterday's average and 30 cents higher than last week's average. The statewide average currently sits at $2.81 a gallon. There's an update on the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, now missing for 32 days and still no apparent break in the case. The Pima County Sheriff reports a pair of gloves found roughly 2 miles from Guthrie's Tucson home were traced to a local restaurant employee not connected to the crime. The investigation is ongoing, looking into other pieces of evidence sent to a lab for DNA testing. The Justice Department will not move forward with an investigation into former President Joe Biden's use of the auto pen. President Trump called on the DOJ to investigate Biden and his aides. They said they want to find if any laws were broken when Biden used the auto pen to sign documents during his presidency. Trump previously called for all of Biden's executive orders and other items to be canceled. U.S. mortgage rates are below 6% for the first time in 3 years. Last week, a Freddie Mac report shows the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate fell to 5.98%. As rates drop, home buyers may be wondering whether they should refinance their mortgage and lower their monthly payments. But experts say there's a lot to consider when it comes to refinancing your loan. In today's Consumer Watch, Jen Sullivan looks at the pros and cons.
Mortgage rates are starting to come down. For the first time since 2022, the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate fell to 5.98%, according to Freddie Mac. So if your rate is higher than that, should you think about refinancing?
I typically tell people that you need to have at least 1% or more in terms of the gap between what you have and what you could have.
Stephen Cates with personal finance site Bankrate says home buyers whose 30-year fixed mortgage is at 7% or higher may be good candidates for refinancing. Even a small change in your interest rate can save you thousands of dollars a year depending on your loan. But he says you really need to look at how much you'll be saving each month with a lower rate and what it's going to cost you to refinance, because it's an expensive and timely process.
your new mortgage, your refinance, even if it's with the same bank, is essentially an all-new loan that pays off the old one.
There may be multiple fees associated with refinancing, like all of these closing costs. Bankrate estimates it typically costs you between 2 to 6% of the new loan amount. So if you're refinancing a $300,000 mortgage, it could cost you between $6,000 to as much as $18,000.
The lower you can get, the easier it's going to be to see those savings in real time.
Kate says you don't have to refinance with your current lender. And because of that, he suggests shopping around for the best rate. And make sure your credit score is good. The higher your score, the lower your rate. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Good news for those planning for retirement. The average 401k balance rose by 11%. Fidelity Investments reports that. This is the third straight year that the average corporate workplace retirement account enjoyed a double-digit hike. Analysts say the strong showing comes from consistent saving habits by participants as well as overall market performance. The findings were based on nearly 25 million accounts. To get more news, weather, and sports, come to our website, crossroadstoday.com. And here are some of the top headlines in the Port Lavaca wave. The Port Lavaca City Council awarded a construction contract during a special meeting held February 23rd. And the Calhoun County ISD Board adopted a new calendar for the next school year and received a report on the district's 2023 bond projects. To read these stories and more, go to portlavacawave.com.
Well, good evening, everyone. We're looking at 73 degrees right about now. The winds finally have settled down. We peaked out again at about 34 miles an hour, so it was rather windy. We managed to get up to 83 today with a 71 overnight low. We're 10 degrees above seasonal average, but we did get 0.02 of an inch of rain. Now, the potential for rain in the next 2 days is fairly low, but over the weekend, things could get interesting. We'll talk about that after this. Well, good evening, everybody. Yes, we've had a lot of moisture rolling up with those strong south winds, but we haven't had anything to trigger it up into showers or thunder showers, because you basically have to take it from down here up here to the cooler part of the atmosphere so it'll condense out. But that happened today because we have this low up in North Texas and this dry line. That is the boundary or the focusing mechanism to trigger off some of this activity. But as far as we're concerned, our main event is a little bit farther down the road. It's up here. This is a strong Pacific storm coming in on the west coast. They're calling it, or they call these storms March miracles, because it's getting to the end of the winter season, and yet they get a big snowstorm and a big rainstorm. That winter storm, that March miracle, will be dropping down into the southern Rockies and then rolling over our area. And that is going to put us in a good position to get a little bit of rain. Now, here's I-35. There's Austin. You can see the thunder showers that popped this afternoon in the hill country and in the high plains. You see it right about there. And then they're all now moving on up into the Dallas area. You can see how the southerly winds feeding into those thunderstorms, giving them all that fuel and energy. And notice that right here is the boundary line. Other side of that, they're not having any kind of moisture. It's very dry. Here's the rainfall totals for the last 12 hours. So here being Austin, you can see how they probably got 2 to 3 inches. This is great. We need that. It's away from us, but it falls into the Colorado River Valley and maybe the Guadalupe as well. So whatever we can get at this point in time, we'd appreciate. Tomorrow morning, we're likely to see another round of fog. So if you're driving early, keep that in mind. This map is for tomorrow, Thursday. Severe weather outlook, possible having serious problems in the Panhandle. Not so much, but thunderstorms expected down to the Big Bend, maybe even to Del Rio. However, if I push this map all the way to the weekend, this is a Saturday map, stormy weather expected up here, big stuff in Oklahoma, but generally even our area has got the potential for getting some shower activity. Now here's the trick. Is it for 1 day, 2 days, or more? Well, let's look at it. First of all, here's a storm coming in from the west. It's dropping down. It's a snowstorm for the mountains. It's great. Okay, notice how we have this big dip in the atmosphere, and then the winds come out of the southwest over us. Well, Friday we start picking up some thunder showers. On Saturday we have a really good shot of getting some activity through here. Now I know it's a weekend, but you know, consider. And then if you watch this little spinning thing here, we go from Saturday on into Sunday. It starts rolling toward us. You see it moving toward us? And that keeps us in the rain business possibly through Tuesday. Wouldn't that be awesome that we can get maybe 4 days of shower activity? So we'll keep our fingers crossed on that. We're working on it the best we can. Overcast and foggy early, getting up to about 79 in Port Lavaca. In Cuero, you're going to get more sunshine in the afternoon. You'll get up to about 84. 7-day forecast, well, you see right here, this very light stuff in the morning hours for Thursday and Friday. Main event on Saturday. Sunday, good shot at getting some stormy weather, then a break on Monday, and then even better chances for a significant rainfall, even middle of next week. We should be hopeful. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that. Put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here is Maxwell with sports.
That's right, Mac. After the break, we're going to highlight 2 more star athletes from Calhoun signing day, and Isaiah Cabrills and Talia Hosey. We'll hear from the both of them. That's coming up next in sport. So earlier today for our 6 o'clock newscast, we highlight 2 Calhoun signees out there in Kylie and Kendall Gray. Well, now we turn our attention to our 10 o'clock news now with some other 2 big names that also signed today for Calhoun, and football star Isaiah Cabrills as he's heading over to Schreiner University, and girls powerlifter Talia Hosey heading out to UT Austin for girls powerlifting and academics. Now, before both of them have to get ready to go to the next level, I want to ask both of them this question about how they felt, how Sand Crab Nation has meant for the both of them.
Definitely brotherhood. I mean, being friends, making new friends, like everybody's like close here. I mean, I'm gonna learn those things up there, how to communicate, how to be friends. Like I had to make new changes this year, so going to Schreiner, I'm gonna have to make new changes again. So I mean, I learned that here, so it's not gonna be nothing to me.
Calhoun powerlifting is the best. It's been the best community I found. I've played different sports, and this team is just amazing. We have an amazing coach. Honestly, everything's just amazing.
I love that. It just shows that, again, they want to give respect back for the community and they want to bring that up to the next level. And I have good faith that both of them are going to have great success going out there over to the next level. Now to 2 future stars out there that are going to go out into the college, to 2 current stars in the high school level, where we had both freshman Shane Davis and Logan Youngblood make an immediate impact in yesterday's regional semifinal victory versus the West Oso Bears. And we also had a chance to have to talk to both of them about how they now feel as they now turn the page over to face the London Pirates tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. at Rockport High School. And for Youngblood, he highlights how he believes he's just a nightmare matchup to go against. And for Davis, he credits his full team effort going the full way.
To stop me, I mean, I don't know what else to say. If you don't guard up, I'm going to drive by. If you don't guard up, I'm going to shoot. And if you guard up, I'm going to drive by. So we've been playing together since 3rd grade, man. We've had a lot of games together, and we play AAU together. We got a lot of chemistry between each other.
I love Youngblood's response. Like, hey, you either can mess with me, you either can shoot, or you can go off and get the boards. I love that. It shows that, again, he's got the confidence in himself as a freshman, too, and he's doing that very well. And, again, they got to have to see. They got a challenge tomorrow, 37-1 against London. They played each other in December, and London beat them at Goliad's home court, 59-53. So revenge is definitely going to be on the mind tomorrow night out at Rockport High School. Now over to softball from last night. Victoria West sophomore star pitcher Elena Martinez recorded her 100th career strikeout in West's 11-1 victory versus Kepner. She also set a career high and season high with 14 strikeouts in 1 game. And this just shows Martinez's determination and competitiveness in the circle. And again, wants to build that confidence going the rest of the way, because this team just got their first district opening victory. Last week they won the VASD softball tournament. So I think Victoria West, keep an eye on them going into the softball season as we getting ready to start up district play. And staying with softball and staying with the number 100 with the St. Joseph Lady Flyers battling the Bishop Badgers in a non-district clash at the Field of Dreams tonight. And the Flyers, they had the stars shining out, especially senior Jasmine Gomez. In just a matter of moments here, you're going to see a shot that was just gone. How about this? Right here to right center field, all the way out of here. And believe it or not, the rest of the way, she got a couple more hits. She got a triple milestone, 100 hits, 100 RBIs, and 100 runs in her whole career that she's got. How about that there for Jasmine Gomez? And you can see she saw my camera right there. Wanted to get a little shout out. But also for Bishop, though, that didn't faze them, though, that Gomez got that right there. They got a 2-run blast from their own in Jasmine Ramirez, and that actually would tie the game at 3-3 apiece in that one. But That was just a few mistakes, though, that pitcher Shane Meismer had. She recorded their 11 Ks in the full game, played a full 7 innings, as you see one right there, to win 5-3 for the Lady Flyers. They now get to turn their attention as they host Charlotte Friday night, and it'll start at 5:30 p.m. That's going to do it here in sports. Don, back to you.
And by the way, the Houston Cougars tonight beat Baylor 77-64. Go Cougs. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10, we'll take a last look at your weather. Plus, a famous TV house receives official historic status in Los Angeles. Here's a story about the Los Angeles area house known as the home of TV's Brady Bunch. It now has historic status beyond reruns. The LA City Council today designated the house an historic cultural monument. It was used for exterior shots of the Brady family home on the sitcom, which aired from 1969 to 1974. Most of the Brady Bunch interiors were shot on a soundstage, but HGTV bought the home in 2019, renovating the interior to match the TV show. By the way, the interior designers for the HGTV all had the same first name. Marsha. The current owner said they plan to use it for charity and fundraising. Gotcha. And we could have a new weatherman soon. Sorry, Mac.
Oh, really?
Well, it may be a few years. Xander
Okay.
shared some photos with us.
Look at
and
that.
it looks like he's ready to cover this weekend's rain. Now, so he's predicting
taking your
rain.
job,
You're
Mac.
predicting rain. He's got an umbrella.
And the mic ready to go,
It
too.
looks like you're ready to predict it, too.
Okay. Well, Xander, we all know him, and he's probably bright enough to do it now, you know.
Oh,
You never know.
whoa.
I getting the confidence. He's already out there.
He's all we need is get him a commercial and a promotion, and he'll take off. All right, folks. Well, maybe Xander will agree with me that over this coming weekend we may have some shower activity. I'm excited because we haven't seen this in a while. We've had little glimpses of, you know, small systems coming through, but this one may actually last for about 3 or 4 days. So I think we're in the weather business starting this weekend.
All right, thank you, Mac, and thanks for joining us. Join 25 News Now, sunrise at 5 a.m. Jimmy Kimmel Live starts now.